Welcome back to night 2 of the 2020 Stiffie Awards. Today we run down our nominations for the New to Us category. And these are those pieces of media we have all discovered in 2020, not necessarily released in 2020, but that stuff that floated our boat. We may have kind of been recommended, or I don't know. We could have been, discovered these any old strange way, couldn't we? From a Facebook post or recommendation from a listener. I don't know. But joining me again, I have Mideon, Midge, and Seddon. Welcome, boys.
Hello.
And we'll get back into this. So, my choices are: at number 3, I have The Clone Wars. Number 2, Spider-Man Far From Home. But my number 1 pick is What We Do in the Shadows. So I kind of picked this up, I guess, halfway through this run of podcasting. We spoke about it on quite a few episodes, really. I watched it. I think, Seddon, you was aware of the film, weren't you?
I love the movie, but hadn't seen the TV show. And
I don't quite know how I was recommended it. It's probably something from one of you guys, or I think I might just seen.
Yeah, I think I watched season 1.
Yeah, I think it was you mid saying about the TV show.
Yeah, and I think I then saw it was on the iPlayer, so I just kind of blasted through a couple of episodes, and it was just fucking fantastic. And the seal of quality for me came when Amanda was just loving it as well, and she is typically quite hard to please. Actually, no, she's quite easy to please if we look at her picks. But you know what I mean?
I was about to say, if she's a bit, if she's tough to please, you need to up your game, Stu.
I know. Oh, yeah, I've walked into a massive minefield there, haven't I? But no, she really enjoyed it as well. It's farcical comedy. I just love that type of comedy. It's this group of vampires. They still dress in period clothing. It is your typical kind of aesthetic for what we perceive a vampire to be from, classic movies from like the 30s and the 40s, but they're kind of out of water as well. It's one of those kind of comedies where these people are thrown out of their comfort zone. They're living in, is it Staten Island? Is it, I think it's Staten Island, isn't it?
Staten Island.
Yeah. So it's kind of the comedy comes from this clash between, these vampires and how they're trying to survive in modern society, and kind of the interrelationships both between themselves and, the wider vampire community that they're trying to keep under wraps. And it's just full of lovely, hilarious moments. But for me, it's the characters within the show that really make it for me. Nadja being my favorite. I think she's hilarious. She's the kind of woman I'd like to take out for a drink, I think. But yeah, it's a great show. I'm so glad I kind of picked it up this year. I blasted through two series, and I look forward to the future of it, really.
And you're right, Stu, aren't you, about that farcical comedy element, but it's just so clever along with it. It's not just kind of dumb bumbling jokes and things like that. They just, the way they deliver it and the way they've written it is just that it takes fish out of water, as you say, to an absolute new level. And all of them, like the cast, they just click so well. And bearing in mind it's based like from a movie, and I loved the movie. And I one of the things that made me, I guess, not jump to it as a TV show was a degree of fear, because it wasn't directed by Taika Waititi anymore. And, you had actors that I knew from other things that I actually was a little bit worried that it might spoil it, having actors I knew from doing other stuff. But yeah, oh my God, this is, for me, TV perfection. They absolutely smashed this show out the park. Pure joy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at this point, do you want to do your pick, Seddon? Because they're going to pretty much closely line to mine.
Well, I mean, I guess gave away it there. That was my winner for New to Us as well, specifically season 1, because that had come out the year before this. And, very much thanks to Mid, and then you, Stu, for kind of watching it and talking about it. Because as I say, it was just something that I think I'd avoided because I was too afraid to go to it. But yeah, it is absolutely amazing. And when I cover my other ones as well, same thing for my number 3 with Spider-Man. I guess this year's been a bit of a renaissance for me in gaming. So speaking to you guys has got me back into gaming, and I know you're all talking about like how much fun you were having playing, or certainly how much fun you had or was currently having playing Spider-Man. And it was at a time where we got the game that shall not be named, although I'll name it Avengers, which I didn't have much fun with. And I thought I do want some fun superhero. And it was just a really, really great experience for me. Probably if I'd have played it in the year it had come out, would it have got a game of the year for me? I don't know, but it certainly would have been up there in the running. And the only other thing I had on my list for new to me was Among Us. And I guess it's a combination of Among Us as a game, which I think is a great game, very kind of tightly packaged, and it is of an ilk game that I quite like playing, even in the board game world, that traitor mechanic in a game. But also, I do. I bloody love it. But not only do I think it's a great game, but it's also brought me endless hours of fun watching other people play it. You know, I have become addicted to watching people play Among Us on YouTube when I'm not playing it myself. But yeah, a great endeavour, and I'm so glad that probably I think it's quite a small development team managed to make something that really has got into. Yeah, there you go. Crazy, and it got into people's consciousness, and I hope they're making gangbusters money out of it, or if they're not now, they actually turn it into something that will be great money.
Sorry, I was just going to say it started off as a team of 3, now it's a team of 4 because they were all on the they won 2 awards at the Game Awards last week, and they've sold loads of merch. They originally were working on Among Us 2, but then just because the game originally came out
2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 years ago, and they were working on a sequel, and then it just blew up.
I wonder why that is.
It's
streamers.
It's the whole YouTube and Twitch culture.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as somebody finds something, and if they're a big enough deal, then everybody finds out about it. It's a whole new aspect to word of mouth. In the digital age, and yeah, it's crazy. So they completely scrapped the sequel and just shifted focus back to just making the first game even better than it already was. On a similar sort of level as well, I just wanted to pop in, Seddon, that Phasmophobia is another game that has a very small development team, a team of 1 person. I think he's added another person that he's working with now, but originally it was just 1 guy in Unity making a ghost hunting game, and as soon as the Twitch and the YouTube streamers got hold of that, it just blew up in terms of popularity. And it's a great game. It's a if you love horror games, it's a quintessential purchase because you can do so many fun things, and it's pretty terrifying as well in a lot of instances. So I've got a massive kick out of Phasmophobia myself, but Among Us is a great choice as well, Seddon. I love Among Us.
Do you just briefly, a trend I've noticed in gaming, and I don't know, like over other medium as well, but like social games seem to have been hit quite big this year, obviously for obvious reasons. What's it called? Phasmophobia. That looks like a quite a social game in that you're coming together, to as a group to hunt these ghosts down.
Yeah, I hope it's a phenomenon that continues outside this year, because I think you're right, Stu. I think it's probably these games have hit specifically because people have been trapped in their houses, not seeing or speaking to people quite so much. But I hope people find the fun in it that they have, and they don't lose that. So I don't know, when the pubs open again, people remember, do you know what, sometimes it is quite nice fun to just play a game with people rather than go out and get absolutely lashed with them or whatever. But yeah, like long may that continue. And Phasmophobia is one that I have downloaded but haven't got around to playing, and it is something that I would like to do more of with you boys in the new year, is get on there and play some of these.
Yes,
these
you need to play
games.
Phasmophobia. We need to sacrifice you to the ghost. I mean, work together as a team. Shit.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Anything further to add from your list, Ed?
No, that's it for me.
Thank you, mate. Midge, what have you got for us?
Right, so I've cheated again.
Yeah.
Instead
73
of
picks coming in.
yeah, and not 73 picks. More of just sort of an overarching pick for each pick. So I could have just, picked for my top 3 new things. I could have just picked the from the other awards that we're going to do later on down the line. But I thought, no, I want to make this category different. So this year, obviously, having a lot more free time in terms of off of my day job, I checked out a lot more. At number 3, I've gone for Netflix documentaries. I've checked out quite a few documentaries this year, most notably Evil Genius and the American Family Next Door have been 2 of my favorite. Oh, actually, a third favorite in terms of that category has been Don't Fuck with Cats.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, those 3 documentaries especially have really stuck out to me and have been absolutely gripping from start to finish. Like each time I've watched the mini series, I haven't like spaced out the episodes. I've literally just binged each one. It's fascinating to see. It's something that they're very, very well produced. And it really sort of opens your eyes to what goes on behind closed doors with a lot of people. Like everything isn't just always sunshine and rainbows, So that's been quite enjoyable to watch to a degree. I mean, some of the stuff is very, very shocking.
I hated American Murder, The Family Next Door. I thought it was so boring.
Oh, I remember that conversation.
So monumentally boring. It was a story about nothing. They told you everything in the first 20 seconds, and I had to sit for another hour and 20 minutes where they just told me the same thing over and over again. It was horrible.
Fair enough. At number 2, I've gone for the Fright Fest Film Festival because being a film journalist and now a filmmaker, I've long wanted to go to Fright Fest. And the main thing that stopped me has been, funds for traveling down to London and staying over for a few days, and then also getting the time off from the day job. And this year, I managed to book off because it's always on bank holiday weekends. So obviously, with my job, getting a bank holiday off is really, really tough. I managed to get off August bank holiday this year. Earlier this year, I was like, brilliant! I'm going to go to Fright Fest, going to have a great time. And then along came COVID. However, they managed to do an online version of the film festival this year, and with me already having the time off work, I was able to virtually attend the festival, which was really, really fun. So I got to experience a film festival that wasn't Starburst Film Festival for the first time. So, I was conversing with a lot of people on social media and, even sort of dropped some congrats on the film to some of the directors and actors that were involved. So it wasn't the perfect social experience because obviously that would have been actually being there in the flesh, but it was the next best thing. And it was just great to say that I have attended a Fright Fest of some kind. Yes.
If the world turns around and COVID goes away, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it this year? I'll go to Fright Fest with you.
Absolutely.
If it's alive, if it's up and running.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's been on my list of something I'd love to do. So yeah, I'll be up for that.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to do it. Yeah. That's the plan. As soon as I'm able to.
I was more thinking we could drink, but network's
you
fine
can do all the drinking because I don't drink, so you can do all the drinking for me.
Perfect. I've got that covered for you.
Awesome.
I'm drinking for 2.
I've been given clearance to do so. But yeah, absolutely. And then the number 1 new thing to me this year has been filmmaking. So, we've mentioned on the show before, I'm now officially a filmmaker. I wrote, produced, edited, directed, and released my first short film during the first lockdown, Sequestration. What an incredible experience that was. Only to then be beaten in terms of an experience when in August we launched the Kickstarter for my second short film, The Veil of Isolation, which we smashed the £5,000 target for the Kickstarter, which was just insane to have that much support. I'm eternally grateful. Like it's going to take a lot to beat that feeling of support and love from everyone. And then we shot the movie. It's currently in the latter stages of post-production. It's very, very, very nearly 100% finished, which is exciting. And not only that, I've connected with so many more people, be it actors, directors, writers, producers, from the success of my work this year, that I'm in early 2021, I'm actually signed on to serve as producer on someone else's short film, which is going to be a monumental task, but one that I am so excited for. And it's that realization that I can do this, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So, you alluded to at the start of the previous episode of the 6-day long Stiffie celebrations that I've had. I've had quite the amazing 2020 in a lot of aspects. I've been one of the few people that have actually managed to successfully make good of a bad situation. I mean, I was planning on directing and shooting my first short film on a set this year anyway, but I just had to adapt to that, and that's where the idea for Sequestration and the Veil of Isolation came from. And the amount of stuff that I've learned from the people who've been so generous to support and get involved with the process. Like, I've learned so much from my producer, Scott. So massive shout out to him. He's such an amazing guy. Working with Natalie, who's the lead actor in The Veil of Isolation. And then, of course, from Sequestration, you got Ben Manning, Francesca Louise White, and Kate Davis Speak. I've become such close friends with all of them, like even closer than I was before, because I've known all of them before the projects. But it's been in a year that we've been apart physically, I feel like this is the year where I've been the closest to people, spiritually. I've developing these working and personal friendships and relationships has been such an incredible experience for me. And yeah, this is the beginning of a really, really bright future for me personally. And I feel like I'm in the best mental state I've been in for as long as I can remember. And that's all down to film and filmmaking in general. So that's why the thing that's technically new to me is being a filmmaker is number one for sure.
That's fair enough. I mean, these are very personal lists, and that's a very personal thing to you. And the boy's done good, basically, isn't he? You've done well. So long may it continue.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your picks. Mid, have you got anything for these picks?
Yeah, I've got a few.
What's your number 3?
So my number 3 is we talk all the time. I watch quite a lot of YouTube. One of the things that may not be new this year, but I always try and catch the episodes. There's a couple of channels that I watch. One's called My Mate Vince, and the other one's called Tronics Fix. And what they do is My Mate Vince just basically fixes anything he buys, like broken things off eBay, and then he films himself repairing them. And he's not like a professional or anything, so it's quite fun to watch him. Obviously, having no idea what he's doing, taking these things apart and repairing them. And sometimes the elation when he figures out what's wrong with it, and when he turns it on and it works, it is like a joy to watch. So yeah, I love watching that kind of stuff. I think my next two are probably a couple of podcasts, just to keep it different from everything else that's coming up.
Yeah.
Not this one, no. I wouldn't recommend this to
Motherfucker.
let alone top 3.
Saving that for the cunt of the year category.
Yeah.
Well, I'm changing mine to mid.
So my first podcast I'd recommend is something different. Is what I've spoken about before, I think, but it came out this year. It's called Under Consultation, and basically what they do is they review every episode of Games Master, the TV show, from back in the day. So yeah, it's quite a trip down memory lane. Plus, it's quite funny hearing things and people talking about things you didn't even realise, like all the innuendos that Dominic Diamond made when you're only a kid watching it. But obviously you listen to this podcast and thinking about it back. They're all plainly obvious. But yeah, so that's another one. And another one that really got my attention was another podcast called the Arcade Attack podcast.
It's your number one pick, by the way.
Yeah. So the reason I really love this podcast is they have a lot of, obviously Sega is still going, but the console business of Sega died many years ago. And they have loads of guests to do with Sega back in the day, from when they used to make like the Mega Drive, the Saturn and all that kind of stuff. And they're all were top level executives at the company. And they've just got all these amazing stories of like feuds in the company, of like feuds between Sega America, Sega Japan, and different business decisions that Sega made and all that kind of stuff. And I just think it's really fascinating to look back on it.
That sounds it, yeah. That's
just to see, obviously, what could have gone wrong and what went right for Sega and what went wrong towards the late years and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting to hear the stories of the people that actually work there.
I really like the sound of that under consultation, because I loved, like yourself, I loved Games Master. That's a big part of my childhood, really. Every Thursday night, I believe, on Channel 4. And to hear some of the stories behind some of those episodes will probably be quite good.
Yeah, one of the co-presenters of that one is Luke Owen from Wrestle Talk.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, and the other guy, sorry, I can't remember his name, but yeah, they're both great on there. But obviously Luke has got quite a personality anyway, so it's quite fun listening to him talk about Games Master. Excellent.
Nice to have some podcast picks on there, I have to say. Cheers, mate. Let's get some listener submissions in. So we were doing new to us. Okay, this is Chris Lacey. His picks are number 3, Jojo Rabbit. That's featured on a couple of our shows in the past few months. Number 2, Cobra Kai. And number 1, Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. Seddon, you watched that the other week, didn't you?
Yeah. I thought it was decent. Better than I probably thought it was going to be. But possibly would have been even better again if maybe they hadn't linked it to The Shining. But certainly big love for his Jojo Rabbit show.
Next up, we have good friend to Seddon and myself, Kenny Sutcliffe. He has gone with Colour Out of Space, the Nicolas Cage version. I don't know what that is.
It's a movie. It looks absolutely bonkers. I haven't got around to watching it yet. I believe it's on Shudder.
Oh, I think it's on Shudder, yeah, because I'm pretty sure I added it to my Shudder list.
He's also gone with Community. I know he's starting to watch that.
An amazing TV show. Recently. If there's anyone out there who hasn't watched Community, give it a crack. It is great.
And I'm assuming his number 1 pick. Well, these aren't in any real order. We'll go Parasite. He's gone with that. So, yeah, I think that's going to feature on a few of our lists going forward.
Yes.
Thank you, Kenny. Much appreciated. Ben White, has he... Oh, yeah, he's mentioned Parasite as his new to us pick, solitary pick. So, a lot of love for Parasite. Bear with me. Who's next? Okay, someone simply called Karen said, they're going with the Renaissance Men podcast. Best podcast I've heard.
Hey!
Only podcast I've heard.
And also, my friend Jevon on Zoom, he's got a music jam thing he records on TikTok. Thank you. Good old Jevon. Shout out to Jevon. And Amanda. Oh, she hasn't got anything. Beg your pardon.
You don't let her do anything new, that's why.
No. Get back in your cupboard under the stairs, Amanda.
Yeah.
Where you belong. Right, that's it. Thank you again for your submissions. Much appreciated. That was our picks for new to us. I'll just quickly run through our top picks. I've gone with What We Do in the Shadows. Mideon has gone with the Arcade Attack podcast. Seddon, What We Do in the Shadows, specifically season 1. And Midge has gone with his filmmaking. So thank you, boys. Right, that's the end of this show. Join us again tomorrow, where we will be discussing our films of the year. quite a tough one for me.
In the meantime, we're not allowed to leave this spot, so we've literally got to wait here for 24 hours. So we hope you enjoy it.
Yes, we won't be doing nothing but chatting on this microphone.
Oh, bloody hell, Midge's got snacks as well, hasn't he? He can chew him down the headset at us for 24 hours.
Even if we need a poo or we are not to move. We should be soiling ourselves right here. A metaphor for the show, quite possibly. But anyway, join us tomorrow, like I say, where we'll be discussing our film of the year. Thank you and goodbye.